All right, and welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Martin Falls, and look who's with me, Julie Pellegrin, one of my most favorite people in the world, and of course, Julie's the executive director of the Haven. How are you, Julie?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I love being
Anytime.
here.
And I know y'all have, God, y'all agenda is such a big agenda, and there's different things that happen throughout the year. So we have a couple of big events that are coming up, and I'll give you the floor. Why don't you tell us about them?
Okay, so October is National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And as part of the month, the Haven is in partnership with several partners hosting two candlelight vigils, one in the Terrebonne Parish community and one in the Lafourche Parish community. With those two events, we hope to bring awareness about the realities of domestic violence in both communities and honor those individuals who actually lost their lives due to domestic violence.
When you go to Terrebonne and Lafourche, is it pretty much the same program, or do you try to change them up a little bit?
So the programs are very similar, but we do change them up to meet the needs of each community. And while Terrebonne and Lafourche are so similar in so many different ways, there are different needs depending on the communities themselves. And what's interesting is there's also different needs depending on where you live in the community. So individuals who have more access, say families who are living in Houma or Thibodeau, probably have a little better access to resources than people who maybe are living in the Bayou communities, whether that be Chauvin, where I'm originally from, or Lockport. They have unique needs. So while the programs are very similar, we do have actual programs that address the needs in each community.
I don't know how to ask you this, but just to ask you. But if you break down Terrebonne and Lafourche, and you go to Bayou communities, not picking on anybody or any one community, so we won't isolate any of them. But do you find the different needs in Terrebonne may be different on the Bayou compared to the city, or different bayous? Do you have different data coming in on all of these different communities, so to speak?
We do. We definitely do. And what is unique about the Haven is that we study that data and we really look at it because we want our programs to be responsive to the needs. And if a family can't get to us, their lives are in jeopardy, or the ongoing trauma for children to witness that in their homes is very real. So we have to address the barriers that people face in a community. So if transportation is an issue, or just really having access is an issue, we want to remove that barrier to make sure that they can get to us. And so one of the unique things that we did about, right before COVID, right before Ida actually, is that we addressed the housing needs of individuals living in Lower Lafourche by opening up a transitional housing program where individuals could get rental assistance so that they didn't necessarily have to leave their community to get the support services they need to be able to access domestic violence resources.
You know, a lot of people know about your big event. I think this year's going to be on March 23rd, coming up in the next year. But there's so many things y'all do during the year. They all get ready for the big Haven event, but it doesn't just happen. And y'all have a lot of programs ongoing all the time that keeps people in the know. So tell me a little bit about that in the process. I'm sure it's pretty tedious work.
Well, we always want people to know that we're there. We don't want access to be the barrier that causes families not to get the help they need. So we work very hard throughout the year to make sure that we're addressing those needs. So as part of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we want to have these candlelight vigils so that the community remembers why we're there and what is the ultimate price families pay when the issues of domestic violence are not addressed, and that is, unfortunately, the loss of life. And so this is the opportunity to bring awareness that we're there, but also to remember that victims of domestic violence oftentimes are killed as part of that violence that they endure.
And that always blows my mind because we do so many news stories on relationships that go wrong. And there's a fine line. It's just if the person could just pull themselves back, take a few deep breaths, and just get a hold of themselves. But they tend to go over that barrier. What do y'all try to do? There's a lot of programs to maybe help them stay within the realm and not go over the barrier, correct?
Yeah, the Havens program focuses on safety and safety planning. What do you do when you're in that circumstances? What is the safest way to get out? What is the safest way to protect yourself and your children? And what is the most appropriate way to hold a perpetrator of violence accountable so that they know that their behavior is unacceptable? When we don't hold people accountable for their behavior, they repeat that behavior pattern over and over again, whether that's the current victim or maybe the next person they get involved in a relationship in. It's a real pattern. And so accountability, making sure that all of the partners in the community hold the person who is responsible for the violence accountable, leads to healthier communities and leads to less violence in that community.
Good point. Let's talk about the Community Candlelight Vigil. It'll be Tuesday, October 17th at 6 p.m. Shine a light on domestic violence. That's at the Terrebonne Parish Courthouse. Once again, Tuesday, October 17th, 6 p.m. And then Remember My Name and Forget Me Not. That's to remember the victims, to honor survivors, and to support families torn by domestic violence. Thursday, October 19th at 6 p.m., Lafourche Central Market. That's 4484 Highway 1 in Raceland. Julie, thank you so much for coming on. And I know that you have a lot of help from the district attorneys in both areas. Thank you for what you do. And we look forward to getting people out to these events to, stand for a good cause. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. There you have it. Julie with the Haven. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.